Hi everyone, it's Carrie's Little Piggies here, and today we're going to talk about guinea pig health checks. Health checks are so important because guinea pigs are so good at hiding their illnesses. But if you follow these guidelines and regularly check them, you may be able to catch the illness before it is too late. Today we're going to talk about two types of checks, what I call the daily observation and then the weekly wellness. First, there's the daily observation check. Every single day you should spend some time with all of your piggies and watch how they act in their cage or their shed or wherever they are. I found for me, the best time to do it is when I'm giving them food, like pellets or veggies or a treat. What I do is I watch to make sure they all come out to greet me, and if they don't come out to eat, which they always do, then there may be a problem. That's how I knew Bonnie was sick, because she didn't come out to eat her dinner one day.
Who wants pellets? Who wants pellets? Who? Who wants pellets? My babies want pellets?
Now, if the piggies are eating slowly or not at all, there may also be a problem. That's how I discovered Raina and Nanny had their teeth issues. You may also want to watch how they move around. Are they slow or are they limping? Then there may be a problem. And finally, and this is so gross but so necessary to talk about, when you spot clean the cage every day, which you should be doing, and I do that probably about 2 to 3 times a day, check first for any white sludge or blood stains on the bedding. Yes, I even smush some of the poops to see if they're soft or getting soft. These can all signal problems or even future problems with the piggies, even though they're otherwise acting or behaving normally. So in addition to the daily observation checks that you're doing, you definitely want to do a weekly wellness check. And for the weekly wellness check, I've got my little Isabella here ready to be our little model and demonstrator. So the first thing I do is start with checking their teeth. This can be a little bit tricky. Piggies hate for you to touch their mouth or their teeth. But I found what's worked for me is I offer the piggies a tiny treat so that they are distracted while they're eating. And then I can see while they chew. You want to make sure that the front teeth are straight and meet together properly, and that you don't see anything stuck in it. Next, I check the nose and outside the mouth. I make sure everything is dry and clear and there's no sores or scabs there. Sometimes a chin rub helps me to see clearly. Then I check the eyes. Make sure there's no crust around the eyelids and the eyes are clear and not watery or runny. Here's Isa demonstrating her beautiful ruby eyes. Next, I check the ears. I look inside the ears to make sure it looks clean, there's nothing stuck in there. And then I look outside on the top to make sure there's no sign of a fungus there. That's how I found Bonnie's fungus spot. It was this tiny spot on her ear, and I was able to get it treated very early before it spread. Now I do a full body rub. I am feeling around for any lumps and bumps or any sores or scabs, something that doesn't feel right. And I do it gently, but if my piggy jumps or reacts like she's in pain or he's in pain, that might signal a problem. Then I check their hair and skin. I make sure to check several spots to see if the skin is nice and not dry and there's no signs of lice running around or flakes. This is how I found lice on Isabella when we first got her. And this is how I also found Raina's fungus that was on her forehead and got it treated before it got out of hand. Okay, this part none of my piggies care for, even my good girl Isabella. I check for mats on the bum area. Long-haired piggies are so prone to mats. Look, here's a big one that I just found on Isa that wasn't there a few days ago. So I just use this to take the time to trim just a little bit all the long-haired piggy's bum every week. Then I gently lift up the piggy, supporting her back so that I can see her paws and underside. I'm looking to see if their nails need to be trimmed, which I usually do about every 2 to 3 weeks anyway. And I feel the bottoms of the paws to make sure they're soft and smooth. I only lift them this way for a very short time as my piggies definitely don't care for it, and it could also hurt their delicate spines. But I do need to make sure their undersides look fine and their genital area is clear. And for Kipua, my only boy, I'm especially careful to do this and check his genitals because males are prone to something called impaction. And then the very last thing that I do is weigh all the piggies. Here is my scale, but any kitchen scale will work. Mine's digital, and I love that you can switch the measurement to grams or ounces and pounds. I prefer to measure in grams though to be more accurate. This scale comes with a bowl, though you can use any bowl if you don't have one on your scale. And I just put this soft cloth in there so the piggies aren't really standing on the metal and they're a bit more comfy while they're in there. So all I do is put the bowl on here, then turn on the scale, and then it resets to 0, and now it's time to put Isabella inside. And then I see her weight in grams. Make sure when you weigh your piggies, you write down their weekly weights. I have a little notebook here, and here you can see I put in all the dates, all their names, and these are their weights. The column here in the middle shows the weight gain or loss from week to week. I put brackets around weight losses that are over 20 grams. Weight changes of 55 grams or more, which is about 1 to 2 ounces, should be cause for concern, and you should weigh them again in a few days, and if they're still losing weight, then take your piggy to the vet. So there you have it. That was your weekly wellness check. And even though it seems like it took a long time explaining it all in detail, it really takes a couple of minutes to get through all of that. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I will leave links to other health check videos that my friends have made, and that way if I've forgotten anything, then they'll definitely have covered it. But above all, please remember that if you see or feel like something is just not right with your piggy, please take them to the vet. I have gone many a time for something that the vet has told me was not really an issue, but the peace of mind is more than not taking and something worse happening. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and here's wishing your piggies lots of health and happiness.